to satsang. So beautiful to be together. We start in satsang with a question that's come in advance by email or on social media or however it may be. And then we'll open it up to any questions that any of you may have. I have 2 children, 1.5 and 4.5 years. I want them to be on the right path of knowing God and self. But my husband and his family are not into spirituality at all. They even eat meat. How can I raise my children in the light when there's so much darkness all around them? Never ever underestimate the power of the mother in the lives of your children. That impact of the mother, not just her words, but her very presence, her very energy and existence, has an impact on us that is far more powerful than really any other impact on us in early childhood. There's obviously a wonderful connection we have with our fathers, with our grandparents and aunts and uncles and siblings and whatnot. But especially in the early years, the connection to mom is just the most powerful. And so if you're spiritual, don't underestimate that beautiful power and impact that you are having on your children, even if your husband and his family may not be spiritual. Also remember that rituals themselves don't make us spiritual. Yes, they're beautiful things to do. It is a nice way of reinvigorating our connection. But there's plenty of people who are deeply spiritual without necessarily performing rituals, without necessarily, having a particular religious rite, ritual, ceremony. So who knows? Maybe they have some spirituality in themselves as well, but that we're just not able to see. So stay open to that as well. Eating meat doesn't by itself mean that they're not spiritual people. What it means to me simply actually is they're not aware of the role of eating meat on the planet. Because in order to go vegetarian, it's not so much about just what our religion is or our spiritual life is. It's actually just as much about how we feel about other people on earth. Our sisters and brothers on earth, how we feel about the environment, the air, the soil, the water. So first of all, give them a chance. Maybe they're just spiritual in a different way than you are. As far as what they eat, isko ban kar dijiye, koi zaruri nahi hai. As far as what they eat, try to educate them not from a religious perspective, but from a perspective of world hunger, from a perspective of climate change, from a perspective of water wastage and usage in the world, the environment. So many people are turning vegetarian and vegan for reasons that have nothing to do with their religious tradition and everything to do with their commitment to protect Mother Earth. So share with them. If you don't have the statistics, just email back to our team and we'll send you lots of videos because it's a topic that I talk about a lot. So we have a lot of things that can be sent to you. But mostly as far as your children, you just keep being spiritual. And remember that being spiritual means we're not criticizing, we're not pointing fingers. One of the most difficult and damaging things for children is actually to have one parent bad-mouthing the other parent. No matter who's right and who's wrong, one parent trying to turn children against the other parent is one of the most damaging things that we can do to children other than actually abuse them. So in your spirituality, don't be telling your children, oh, your father this, oh, your father that, oh, your father's family this. You just show your children the right way of being. Show them, don't just tell them, show them. Get up, meditate, have them sit with you when you meditate. When you stand up from your meditation, be different. If your meditation is real, you're going to be different when you stand up from it. Let them see that difference. Oh, Mom meditates. After meditating, Mom is very calm, very peaceful, very different. They see it. No matter what your husband or his family may say or do or raise their voices or whatever they may do, you stay anchored in your spirituality. Doesn't mean you're a doormat, doesn't mean you let them walk all over you, but it means that you don't lose yourself just because they've lost themselves. That's what you're going to teach your children is no matter what happens around us, no matter who may be mean to us, no matter who may think differently than we do, no matter who we might not agree with, spirituality is that keeps us anchored and grounded and peaceful and loving, and that fills us with virtue of how to live. Teach your children in that way. Instead of just saying, this is good, this is bad. Teach them why. The core of spirituality is that we are all connected, we're one. So when you tell your children, for example, to be vegetarians, help them understand it's not just a religious thing or a religious dogma. We're vegetarian because, see, sweetheart, so many children your age are dying of hunger. And when we eat hamburgers and hot dogs and chicken McNuggets, it's actually taking food out of their hands. But if we eat bread and rice and pasta instead, then they can also eat. Or if you're teaching them not to tell lies, well, you tell them we speak the truth, not just because lying is bad, but we speak the truth because we are here as embodiments of the divine on earth. God lives in us. We're not just talking to your friend or your relative or the person in the grocery store. We're talking to God. God is speaking to God. Help them understand in that way. When you teach them namaste, right? It's not just don't say hi, don't say bye, say namaste instead. We say namaste because it means that divine in me is bowing to and recognizing the divine in you. So teach them. This will stay with them. Your impact as their mother is the most powerful impact in their life right now. Let them know they can trust you. Let them know you are open. Give them that. And you'll see the beautiful power of it. And slowly, slowly, who knows, maybe your husband and his family will also come around. Spirituality is a beautiful magnet. Truth is a magnet. Love is a magnet. It pulls people toward it. Beautiful. Any questions that anyone here might have? Yes, in the front. Pale chota sa bacha.
How to do meditation in a busy lifestyle?
How do we meditate with a busy lifestyle? So let's take the busy lifestyle first and then meditation second. Okay? How old are you? I'm 11. Is your lifestyle busy? You're asking for your parents. That's nice. Well, listen carefully because soon your lifestyle is going to be busy too. It's beautiful though how you think about them and care about them and want them to find meditation in their lives as well. So, well, first of all, raise your hand if you've got a busy lifestyle. Anybody here with a busy lifestyle, raise your hand. All right, so we're at almost 100%. Now, if we went around, we won't, but if we did, and I said, tell me about your daily schedule, from when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night. Tell me what you do. Or if this were a scientific experiment and I sent you all home with, a sheet to fill out, that every 15 minutes your phone beeped and you had to write down what you were doing. And then a week later we came in and we tallied it all up, who was doing what. What we'd find is that some of us have time in an office at a desk that's busy. Some people have time taking care of family that's busy. Some people have time, and some have both, of course. It's not one or the other. It's just in our list of busynesses, we'd see time in the office, time with a family. Then we'd see time watching TV. Then we'd see time scrolling social media. Then we'd see time having chai with friends. Then we'd see time having a fight with our family members. Now, I mention that because most of us, when you're going to start a practice of meditation, most people say, I'm too busy. I don't have any time. And we've mistaken the fact that we keep ourselves occupied from morning till night with the idea that we really don't have any time. Of course we have time. But what it means is that we have to make choices. I would imagine that every single person here, maybe not every single day, but during the course of a week, has many, many hours of the week that are spent watching something for entertainment, whether it's TV, whether it's a movie, whether it's videos on YouTube. I would bet that everyone in here spends quite a bit of time on some kind of social media. It may be Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. It may be WhatsApp. But that during the course of a day, and it's a fun experiment. I don't know about Android phones, but iPhones have something where it will show you your daily screen time. And it'll show you how much is spent in which application. So you can actually measure and see at the end of each day, how much were you on email, on social media, talking on the phone, watching videos, whatever. And it's very interesting because we actually spend a lot more time than we think. If you say to most people, how much time do you spend on social media every day? Most people will say 5-10 minutes maximum. But when you actually look at it on your phone, it's a lot more. If you say to people, how much time do you spend on WhatsApp every day? Right? Hours and hours and hours. I remember when I was young, it was always about how many hours people spent watching TV. Nobody could believe it. People would say, I only watch this much. But when they started really measuring, it was a lot more. So the first piece when we talk about being busy is it's actually just kind of this identity we've wrapped around ourselves. It's become sort of a mark of social approval. Oh my God, I'm so busy. Like, it's just something that people now say. How are you? Oh, I'm so busy. As though somehow that were a mark of honor. God, I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning last night. Wow, that makes you a great person. But we wear it as a mark of honor. And yes, of course, being fully engaged with every waking hour in something meaningful and of service. That is how our life is supposed to be. That is exactly how our life should be. But if in our mind it is being translated as I'm just busy, then it's work. I mean, if you're cooking dinner for your loved one, you probably don't have that kind of a loved one yet, but let's say you were having a beautiful party for your friends. Maybe it was your birthday, you invited them all home. And y'all started baking cookies. You thought that would be fun, let's all make cookies. Okay? Well, at the end of the party, if I said, how are you? Would you say, my God, I am so busy. I've been in the kitchen baking cookies all day long. No, you'd say, oh, we had such a great day. Baked cookies. But you could take someone who spends their days baking cookies, who at the end of the day, because, maybe they work in a bakery shop. It's work for them. At the end of the day, oh my God, I am so busy. Now it's the same action, baking cookies. But for the other person, it's work. It's work. They don't want to be doing it. They'd rather be doing something else, but they are doing it. And so hence they feel that stress of being busy. But when you bake cookies with your friends at your birthday party, it's fun. You're enjoying it. The issue with our lives has been that so much of what we do has gotten wrapped up in this identity of, oh my God, I'm so busy, that even things we would have enjoyed, we no longer enjoy because we tell ourselves, oh, I'm so busy, got to do it. So we actually lose the opportunity to enjoy what we do because we've stuck it all under this umbrella of busyness. Well, yeah, being busy is good. Our lives should be full, but sometimes we are busy meditating. Sometimes we are busy doing yoga. Sometimes we are busy being with our families. Sometimes we're busy exercising. Sometimes we are busy earning a living. Sometimes we are busy making art, making music. Being busy isn't the problem. Being busy is beautiful. It means we're filling every moment of our day. It's the identification of I'm so busy that's the problem. So if we could break that identification and recognize, wow, I'm so blessed, my life is so full. There's more to do every day than I've got hours to do. What a blessing. But also simultaneously we have to realize I'm choosing these things. Even in many cases, my job. Most of us sitting here and watching this online are not at hand-to-mouth poverty level where if we cut back our work by half an hour a day, suddenly our family would starve. Most of us put in the extra hours at work because we want the extra money. Fine, no problem. But then don't complain you're too busy. It's a choice you've made. There's a lot of different options of jobs and ways to make a living. If yours is keeping you so busy that you don't have time to meditate, or you don't have time to be with your family, or you don't have time to make or enjoy art or music, well, maybe there's another way you could put food on the table. And I know you're only 11, and I know the question is for your parents, but it's also for you, because as you grow and you think about what you're going to do in your life, most of us set our heights, our goals, our dreams at these wonderful professions, and they are wonderful. But we set our goals there because we think, I'll make a lot of money. I'll have a lot of power. I'll be really famous if I get that job, or I can do this. And that's fine, no problem. But recognize, is that really your highest goal? Are you prepared to live a life where the only way to have time to meditate is to not get enough sleep? Right? Where you get to a position where your only option is not to have enough sleep. Well, that's not a good choice. Isn't there anything else in 30 minutes of the day you could cut back? Social media time. WhatsApp messaging time. You know, it's really interesting because we got into these messagings thinking that they would save us time. I remember when texting first came out, it was like, oh wow, this is so great. Now you don't have to waste time on a phone call. I now pick up the phone and call people because it is so much faster than the hundreds of back and forths. That which you could accomplish in a 4-minute phone call is going to be 40 WhatsApp messages. And so we've gotten busy without actually accomplishing or achieving anything more. It's not like we are achieving so much more than people did 30 years ago. But we're a lot busier. But we have the power to choose. And the beautiful thing is, there's so much to choose from. Jobs, families, wonderful movies, dinners with friends, exercise, art, music. I mean, so much to choose from. Then we have to sleep, we have to bathe, we have to eat. We've got a limited number of hours in the day. And each of us has full freedom to spend every moment of that day exactly as we would like. But what I would say is, if you're not meditating because you are too busy, it just means you're not really interested in meditating. Because we always have time for that which is important to us. It's just a matter of what our priorities are. So, if we want to meditate, we'll make time to meditate. If we don't make time to meditate, okay. There's no moral police that says you're a good person if you meditate and a bad person if you don't. Plenty of people live beautiful, wonderful, dharmic lives without a practice of meditation. Meditation doesn't make us a good person. What it does is it enables us to see the truth of ourselves, the truth of who we are, so that we're not blinded by ignorance. And when we're not blinded by ignorance, we tend to act in ways also that are good for people around us. But there's plenty of people I know who have no meditation practice at all, no spiritual practice at all, who are really, really, really good people. My dad is one of them. He would tell you he was an atheist. But next to my guru, he's the best man I know. So just because people choose different things doesn't mean they're right or wrong. In order to have a meditation practice, you have to want it. You have to feel like there's something in your life that could be deeper, richer, better. If you had control of the mind, if you knew the truth of yourself. But we're not the spiritual police to decide what people should do. So I'm sure your parents are really, really good people. And if they want to meditate, they'll meditate. Maybe you could start a family tradition of meditation. Maybe you could all get up in the morning together and meditate. Would you be ready to get up a little bit earlier in the morning? There you go. Pujya Swamiji always talks about how so frequently it's parents who bring kids to Rishikesh. But then now we've got this new beautiful generation of kids who are bringing their parents to Rishikesh. The kids saying, let's go back, let's go back. And now we have generations of kids teaching the parents to meditate. It's wonderful. It should be like that. It's beautiful. So why don't you set a family meditation practice every morning? Get them up, everybody. That becomes your daily duty. Okay? Wonderful. Does anyone else have a question? Yes.
So you just mentioned a couple of things. The very first one, you mentioned that mother plays an important role in life of kids. And second, parents should avoid bad mouthing. And the other key piece you mentioned in your second spiritual message is life is all about choices. What if you have made a choice where you have literally abandoned your child because it was tormenting the child as two parents were not getting along well, and now you're facing with a guilt somewhere, how you deal with something like that?
The very first thing you do, is you forgive yourself. You did what you thought was in your child's best interest. You did something that must have been extraordinarily difficult because you thought it was in your child's best interest. That takes a lot of strength. A lot of strength. To be able to put yourself in the pain of leaving your child just so that the child didn't have to deal with the pain of the parents fighting every day. Now that you feel so badly about it, though, I don't know how old the child is now. 9. Well, 9-year-olds are pretty mature these days. And this may be a good time to re-enter. And I'm not saying that the child's not going to be angry at you or have pain or have issues because he or she felt abandoned. But better at 9 than at 19 or 29 or 39. Tell them why you did what you did. Let them see the humanness in you. See, as children, we see our parents as perfect. They really are, they're the divine. And so when our parents do things that are not so divine, hurt us in some way, physically, mentally, abandon us, it creates a really deep wound to the psyche, because the way the child understands that is that there's something wrong with them. The child would never imagine that there was something wrong with the parent. So children of abuse, children of abandonment, inevitably have this feeling that there's something wrong with them, because otherwise why would mom or dad do this to them? But 9 is still really young. My background is in child psychology and especially the neuropsych of it. And a 9-year-old's brain is still really malleable. You've got a lot of years left to work with the brain of your child and to prevent them from later developing the addiction or the depression or the anxiety or whatever it may be that tends to be the result of that later in life. Usually by the time, kids deal with this, they're in their late teens, they're in their 20s, they're in their 30s. The brains have mostly myelinized. There's less that can be done. But at 9, there's so much you can do. Let them understand, because at 9, they no longer need you to be God. Let them understand you're human. That situation at home was really difficult for you. It was really painful for you. And you really didn't want them to be in pain. And so you did something that you knew hurt them, but you hoped would hurt only a little compared to the hurt of every day. And also share with them how much it hurt you to be separate. Be humble. Don't try to defend yourself. Don't tell them what a pain in the rear end the mother was and that's why, you couldn't possibly stay in the house. But tell them how much you miss them. And that now that they're older and there's been space and time, you want to be there for them. It's the very best thing you can do. there's still so much time. I mean, there's always time. There's even time when, people are on their deathbeds and there's an hour. But especially at that age, you can transform it. But you've got to get over the guilt and allow yourself to forgive yourself. You did the best you could. You didn't think about how can I mess up my child's life. You thought about how can I protect them. Now, several years later, things have changed. They've grown. You and your wife or ex-wife are in a different situation. But get back in there. Is that something you can do?
It's not within my control, obviously.
Can you offer? Mike Dedonka.
Well,
Can you try to get back in their life?
Well, I can, but it's not first couple of years. Like, we got separated about roughly 2 years back. Then I tried to maintain my contact, but in the meantime, the child was getting manipulated. The child was being told bad-mouthing things about his father. So it reached to a stage, especially last year in November, when I decided enough. It's not right on the child. It's not right on me. So that was a point in time when I took a really hard decision. I think for me, my child means world and he means God. So in a way, I have left my God. So it has been hard, but I was not prepared to let the child being manipulated and going through this tormenting experience where he has to listen bad things about his father and mother, or father, because he and his mother didn't get along well. Okay. So in that way, it's only 5 months, but I do think about him every day. Like, there is not a time of the day when I don't think about him. But it's just like sometimes a guilt comes that I have abandoned him, I have given up on my responsibility. But I did try. I did try for 2 years to be in his life, but it's hard.
So the good news is, I didn't realize it was so recent. So the good news is that impact on him isn't nearly as deep yet. And he was a bit older when it happened, all of which is good news. Here's what I would say you need to do. Trust me that your wife, ex-wife, is still filling his ears with nonsense about you. Because just because you're out of the picture doesn't mean he stops asking about you. He's obviously going to keep asking about you. Your name is going to keep coming up. So if her game is to badmouth you, she's going to keep doing it. What you need to do is be as humble as you can. Do not engage in a battle with her. Remember your goal. You have one goal and one goal only, which is to stay in your son's life. Not to prove to your wife that you're right. Not to win a battle. Just to stay in his life. The more humble you can be, the less argumentative. I know it's difficult. Divorces are horrible. The more humble you can be about it, gentle, stay in his life, do whatever you have to do, and tell him, he's old enough, tell him, I'm so sorry this is going on. I left because I thought it would be easier for you, but then I realize you are my number one priority. If I have to deal with this conflict in order to be with you, that's okay. I'm willing to deal with anything in order to be with you. You are my priority. Tell him that. And make a vow that you will never badmouth his mother to him. 9-year-olds are smart. He's going to understand. Mom is talking nonsense about you. You're only being nice about her. He's going to understand. Don't worry. Her words to him are going to be much more powerfully able to change how he feels about you if you're not in the picture. Then she'll create a whole story around it. See, he abandoned you, he doesn't care. If he's seeing you, if you're in his life, she's not going to be able to turn his mind against you. Get back in there, and if it means you have to fold your hands and touch your wife's feet and say whatever you need to say, just do it. I'm sorry?
It will possibly need a judge, to be honest with you,
Okay.
fighting a legal court case in Ireland. So that's what
Okay.
it will take, to
Then
be
do
honest.
it. Do it. Do it, and if there's ways through other family members, through neighbors, through friends to get even a letter, a card, or something to him, even if you can't see him, if there's some way to get some kind of communication to him, just to let him know you love him and you're fighting for him, do it. I don't know if he's probably not on social media yet. I don't know if he's got email. But if there's any mutual friend or family, just keep trying to get messages to him that you love him and you're fighting to see him. And stay in the legal system. Sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes you really do have to fight for that which you know is right. And your kid is certainly worth it. Yeah, I'm sorry you're going through this. Wonderful. Have a beautiful rest of your evening, everyone. And looking so forward to being together with you all tomorrow. Have a beautiful night, a beautiful day to our family joining from all over the world online. And so much love to you all.